Hello YouTube family, and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be one that has been highly requested by a few of my subscribers here. So I'm finally coming to you guys to talk about something that is so annoying. Everybody at some point has experienced shedding or breakage, and so I'm going to talk a little bit about how you can cut down on the excessive shedding that you're experiencing and then also prevent breakage. All right, so first we're going to start off talking about excessive shedding. So of course everybody knows that shedding is just a natural part of your hair's overall journey. So typically the average person sheds about 100 to even 150 strands of hair a day. That's a lot of hair. Of course that's all dependent on if your hair is very dense. Obviously you would shed more than someone who has very thin, fine hair. In some cases there are some reasons as to why you are shedding additional strands of hair outside of that 100 to 150. Before I jump into methods of how you can prevent excessive shedding, one thing I would like to note is that if you are experiencing a lot of shedding, the first thing I would recommend you do is to really talk to your primary physician. A lot of times excessive shedding is tied to an underlying health condition, so that is something that you definitely want to make sure you reach out to your doctor for and say, okay, hey, I'm experiencing this, just to make sure it's not anything going on internally. For example, for me, I have experienced excessive shedding before. It was actually tied to my iron, so I was not aware that I was iron deficient. However, when I went to the doctor, I explained that I was experiencing the shedding as well as I was feeling very fatigued, and so they drew the blood and found out that I was iron deficient. That is something that is easily fixable. Obviously you see a million over-the-counter iron pills that you can take or supplements that you can take daily. So definitely make sure if you are experiencing excessive shedding that you reach out to your doctor first, and then if you're okay health-wise, then take these methods and try them and see if that helps with the shedding. So after I visited my healthcare provider and started to take the iron pills, I did see a pretty significant difference in how much shedding my hair did, but I also wanted to take other precautionary steps to ensure that my hair got back to normal basically. So one of the things I did was I cut back on of course the amount of manipulation I was doing to my hair. Obviously that applies for both shedding and breakage. You definitely want to make sure that you are doing low manipulation styles that are just very loose on the edges as well as the hair in general, not like tight ponytails and sew-ins and a lot of braids. Just really making sure you do low manipulative styles. Outside of doing low manipulation styles, another thing I would definitely recommend you guys to do if you're experiencing a lot of shedding is to take about 30 minutes to work out daily. It doesn't have to be a strenuous workout. It can be 30 minutes a day. You can do Pilates, you can do yoga, just something to relieve your body of all of that stress that you're experiencing, if that is what's happening. You want to make sure you take the time to work out, because a lot of times working out does really help with alleviating stress. So outside of those two things that you could do on your own, there are methods that you can take as well with your hair. This would somewhat alleviate the excessive shedding that you're experiencing with your hair. So one of the first things that I did after talking to one of my friends back in Houston, she recommended the amla oil to me. So amla is basically a fruit powder that a lot of Indian women use on their hair to really strengthen it. So this is something that is very helpful for both breakage and shedding. I've used it a couple of times and it's really great with strengthening the hair. So this is one of the options that I would say if you are experiencing shedding, give this a try. Obviously everything that I'm going to show you guys, don't do it all at the same time, but these are alternatives of things that you could try to see if it will help with the excessive shedding. Outside of that, I know you guys are pretty familiar with black tea and green tea rinses, but you can simply get a couple of tea bags and put that in some water and then put it in like a color applique bottle, put that on your head and let it sit for a little while. Doing black tea and green tea rinses really do help with preventing excessive shedding. There's a lot of people who have videos out there about green tea and black tea rinses, but of course if you guys would like to see me do a demo on how I do a black or green tea rinse, just let me know and I can record that for you. The shedding, I think those are some of the best tips I would have for you if you are experiencing excessive shedding. Obviously everything that I recommended to you guys, some of those you can do in parallel, others I would recommend, especially the amla and the green tea, don't try to do these together. Do them at separate times, and then figure out what works best for preventing that shedding. All right, so moving on to breakage. So breakage is its own little mini nightmare. I know we've all experienced it at some point in our life, and it's so annoying. I don't know if you guys remember the photos from when I first started to go natural. I'll post it here, but do y'all see that? A hot mess. My hair was so broken off. Like, you could just tell. Like, look at the picture. My hair was a mess. And this is what my hair looks like now. Okay? So very healthy. It took some time, but once I figured out what I needed to do with my hair, we were good to go. Okay? When it comes to breakage, a lot of times breakage is a result of an imbalance between protein and moisture. That, at least on my part, that's what I've experienced. When my hair does not have enough protein and it also lacks moisture, that is when my hair is going to break off. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. I still experience breakage, you know, and a lot of times I have to check myself, like, girl, get your life together and really pay attention to your hair and what it's needing and what it's saying. And so that is pretty much what I'm going to recommend to you guys today. Obviously, everybody's hair type is different. Everybody's hair reacts different to products. So one of the things I would say before I start to give you my recommendation for how to prevent breakage, definitely kind of play around with products that you know work for your hair first before you try anything that I'm showing you. So one of the things I always do every 6 weeks is to do the ApHogee 2-step protein treatment on my hair. This really does help with strengthening the hair as well. But I definitely would say, if you are not familiar with doing protein treatments on your hair, start with a lighter protein treatment. There are, when you go into Target, Walmart, CVS, there are little packets of, you know, protein treatments that you can get from Palmer's, as well as Cream of Nature, that you could try out on your hair to see if that does help with preventing the breakage that you are experiencing. Now, obviously, after you apply the protein treatment, you definitely want to make sure you are moisturizing your hair and deep conditioning your hair. This is, again, like I mentioned earlier, you have to make sure you have a balance of protein and moisture in order to prevent breakage in your hair. So after you finish your protein treatment, definitely follow up with a really good deep conditioner. Obviously, there are a lot of different deep conditioners on the market, but after I apply my ApHogee protein treatment and shampoo my hair, I tend to reach for a really good deep conditioner. And so the two that I always reach for, I use either or, and I flip-flop depending on the need for my hair. I go between the Camille Rose Algae Renew. I don't know if you guys can see that. I get the Algae Renew Deep Conditioner and I apply that all over my head and I let it sit for like an hour. Or I go for the Aunt Jackie's Flaxseed Oil Hair Mask. Obviously, you can see it's kind of messed up because I'm always using it. But I tend to either go for one of these two when deep conditioning my hair after I apply a protein treatment. Another reason why you could be experiencing breakage is the type of tools that you use. A lot of people go for tangle teasers or dim-in brushes. Your hair is very thick. You definitely use these sporadically. Do not use these all the time. If you have trouble with detangling your hair, do it in smaller sections and use wide tooth combs, because these type of brushes and combs are very tightly knit in the bristle part. And so obviously, if it's catching a lot of hair, you have a higher tendency to cause breakage because it's catching a good amount of hair in these brushes. So yeah, just to recap again, if you are experiencing a lot of breakage on your hair, make sure your hair has a good balance of protein and moisture. I showed you guys kind of the protein treatment that I use, as well as a couple of options for a hair mask that I love to go for as well. Outside of that, if you've done all of those things and you have a good balance of protein and moisture, definitely cut back on the type of tools that you're using and the heat, if you are using heat on your hair. So yeah, those would be the tips that I would have for preventing or stopping excessive shedding and breakage. If I can think of anything else that I missed in the video, I'll put it down below in the description bar. Of course, if you guys have any questions, per usual, please write those down below in the comment section and I will be sure to respond to you. So if you are new to my channel and you have not hit the subscribe button, come back and see me. I would love to have you as part of the family. And if you are a current supporter or returning supporter, thank you so much for it. I really appreciate you guys. And until next time, thank you guys for watching. Bye bye.